What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button because that is the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And that does also, yes, help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And with the introduction out of the way, let's now get into today's news. And today, we are headed back over to Denver because in Denver, not surprisingly, honestly, this might be surprising to some of you, but it's not surprising to me. In Denver, the illegal immigrant population that are participating in this mass asylum fraud facilitated by Joe Biden and his open border policies, the illegal immigrant population over there put out a list of demands to the mayor that they want fulfilled if the mayor wants them to leave an encampment that is an eyesore for the city, but wants them to leave an encampment that's underneath a bridge in the city and go to city shelters. So essentially, if we're being honest, what's happening here is pretty much kind of a protest by the illegal immigrant population, right? Because they don't have to be in this encampment that is a gross eyesore on the city, which is underneath a bridge in the city. They don't have to be there. There are shelters available for them, but they're upset about some of the restrictions that come with living in these shelters. Now, mind you, if these were true asylum seekers, which they are not, they were participating in asylum fraud, but if they were true asylum seekers, you would think that with as bad of a situation that they allegedly escaped from was as bad as they said it was, and they made it here to the United States only to be set up in a city shelter that is accommodating to their needs, but with some limitations, you would think they would be more than happy to be there. I know I would be. I know I would be. I know if I was fleeing a place like Haiti, right? And I landed in Denver or Chicago or any of these other places, and they said, we're going to put you in the shelter here, but there's going to be time limits on, how long you can take a shower for. There's going to be a relatively strong police presence here just to monitor everybody because we don't really know who you are. And there's going to be a couple of other limitations as well. But, outside of that, feel free to live here and do what you need to do to get by. I would be so grateful. I would be so grateful, so thankful, and so happy that I was able to flee the oppressive, deadly situation and circumstances that I'm living under in Haiti to make it here to the United States to live within one of these shelters that has some limitations to it, but it's significantly better being here than over in Haiti. I would be grateful, but that's me if I was a genuine asylum seeker. What I'm going to show you now proves that these individuals are not genuine asylum seekers. Now, look at this list of demands that they put out to the mayor of Denver that they said, you're going to meet these accommodations and our demands if you want us to leave. Look at this here. And I know it's a little bit small. The links to this article is in the description box below if you want to read this out for yourself. But I'm going to read it to you right now. So there's kind of no need for that. So let's get into it. Let's look at these list of demands. The migrants should be allowed to cook their own food with fresh, culturally appropriate ingredients, including rice, chicken, flour, tomatoes, and onions, instead of being served pre-made meals. They also want to ensure people are not punished for bringing and eating food from outside the shelters. The reason I started laughing is because this is in quotations, right? They're saying including rice, chicken, food, tomatoes, and onions. They're making it a point to detail precisely the ingredients that they want because they want the city to provide the food for them. Don't give us these pre-made sandwiches that we should be grateful for, because even these pre-made sandwiches are better than what we were eating in whatever country we came from that we're allegedly fleeing from. No, don't give us the pre-made stuff. We want you to provide us with fresh chicken, flour, tomatoes, onions, rice, and you give us all of this stuff so that we can cook and feast within the shelter based upon our culturally appropriate ingredients and diet that we're accustomed to where we came from. You're going to give this to us. Second, They want to have access to showers at all times without the limits of time, or I should say without time limits, right? What I would assume is happening in these shelters, and it only logically makes sense that there will be time limits on how long you can take a shower and when you can. Because once again, this is all on the city's dime. Now, if you have your own place and you're paying your own water bill, then have at it. If you want to sit in the shower for 3, 4, 5 hours and run the water and waste gallons and gallons of water, by all means, be my guest, because you're going to pay for that water bill yourself. But you see, in these shelters, the water bill they're not paying for. So obviously there's going to be time limits. We'll just say the men, you got 5 minutes, man. In and out, wash up and leave. Women, we understand things are a little bit different from you, for you. So we'll give you 10 minutes, but you need to get out. Once again, it makes logical sense that there are time limits because the city is the one footing the bill. But no, they want the citizens of Denver to foot the bill. We're going to shower for as long as we want to, and you pay for it. Secondly, thirdly, I should say, visits by medical professionals will occur on a regular basis. They will occur on a regular basis with referrals for specialty care made as needed. Once again, on your dime, mind you, these guys don't have work permits. So how are you paying for this food that you're demanding? You're clearly not going to pay for the water bill, right? Because you're living in a shelter. And who's going to pay for the medical costs? Not too long ago, I did a story on this, and a lot of other people did stories on this too. But not too long ago, the illegal immigrant population in Denver virtually collapsed the hospital system. As you can see in this article here, and I'll leave the link to this article in the description box below as well, so you can read it for yourself, as you should. Denver hospital system may collapse due to migrant crisis. We are turning down patients. They were turning down actual patients, right? Citizens, in order to accommodate illegal immigrants who weren't paying the cost to be cared for within the hospital system. And the burden that they were taking on in the hospital, the cost was so much. We're talking about to the tunes of millions and millions and millions of dollars. This almost collapsed their hospital system, almost completely collapsed it. But yet here you go in this list of demands, they're saying, yeah, we want regular doctor visits and specialty care. Make it snappy. Are we going to pay for it? No, you're going to pay for it. Now let's keep going. And instead of me elaborating so much on all these, I'm just going to go ahead and read through them. Right? Let's just get through the rest of this. The group will receive the same housing support offered to others, and city officials will not kick people out in 30 days without something stable established. A clear and just process for removing someone, including verbal, written, and final warning. So you just can't get people out of there. You got to give them at least three warnings. Employment support, including work permit applications for those who qualify. Once again, as I stated earlier, including work permit applications for those who qualify. These folks don't have work permit applications. So that's therefore everything is on the house. Or are you getting under the table money? It sounds like some of you are getting under the table money if you can afford to pay for your own rice, chicken, flour, tomatoes, and onions, right? Working jobs that you're not supposed to be working, stealing from the citizen population of Denver because you're working, getting under the table money for a wage that's significantly lower than what the employer would have to pay a U.S. citizen. But I digress. Let's carry on. Where am I at right now? Number 7. Free consultation with an immigration lawyer, as well as ongoing legal support provided by the city through immigration clinics and transportation to court. 8, privacy for families in the shelter. Once again, we don't know who you are. And in a lot of these cases, we don't even know if these families are genuine because there are no tests, paternity tests, DNA tests being done to find out if the children that some of these people are with are actually their biological children. But I'm not going to get into all that right now because we've discussed that in previous live streams. Number 9, no verbal, physical, or mental abuse by shelter staff, and no 24/7 monitoring by law enforcement. Once again, we don't know who you are. Of course, there's 24/7 monitoring by law enforcement. or you would think so, but that's actually not the case in most places. It isn't, especially in places like Chicago and New York. They'll maybe monitor certain hot spots like in New York, Randall Island, but outside of that, the majority of these shelters, really almost all of them, there is no 24/7 monitoring by law enforcement. But the 24/7 monitoring by law enforcement, once again, makes sense because we don't know who you are. We don't know you. Transportation for children to and from school. Number 11, no separation of families, regardless of whether those families have children. 12, a meeting with the mayor. They're demanding a meeting with the mayor. A meeting with the mayor and those involved in running city programs to support migrants to discuss future improvements. So this is just our list of demands now, but we want to meet with the mayor as well as other city officials because we're going to have more demands in the future that you're going to meet to. Amazing. All shelter residents, lastly, will be provided with a document signed by city officials in English and Spanish and containing the list of demands and number to call to report violations. So they're saying that this needs to be signed by the city officials, that you all agree to this documentation, that you agree to our list of demands. And if any of our demands are violated that we have on this list that you all agree to, we have a number to call to report on those violations. Amazing. Amazing. Imagine somebody breaking into your home unwanted, unannounced, sitting down, plopping on your couch and saying, here's my list of demands. This is what you're going to do. Would you comply to those demands or would you kick them out of your house because you broke in anyways? I think we all know the answer to that question. And with that being said, that does it for today's news in Denver. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms and follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. And until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.